I don't need to hydrate. I don't need to take a mental health day. I don't need to do a wellness check. I don't need to do any of that.
Good morning, glory. Say there, stop that yawning. A brand new day is dawning. Pull up the shade and let the sun come through. Good morning, glory. Spend about an hour underneath a shower and keep on singing like the birdies do.
That's right, folks. Level up at your library. That's a character named Gordon. And you know how you level up at your library? You bring in a Boston book critic. And I'd like to introduce you all to Steve Donahue.
Hello, everybody. I want to stress that he was highlighting the shirt and not the effect of too many quesadillas.
Boom. You know, that's why God made Pepto. So anyway, Steve, welcome to the show. And it's exciting.
If the waitress says, do you want cheese on your quesadilla? You tell her yes or no. In Wisconsin, if the waitress says, do you want cheese on your quesadilla? She's arrested.
You're not one of us.
Yeah,
well, what do we do on this show? What indeed? What we do is we like to be informational. And today we're going to talk about how to use a dial telephone.
Oh, you listeners are missing a graphic that will utterly confuse you.
It was a good time. It was a good time when
Rotary phone. My.
It was, you know, there's some charm there.
Possible. We would have had to have a studio, and I would have to go there. This would not be possible.
That's true. That's true. Or if I had brought you on the show, I would have had to use a rotary phone to dial you up, put the receiver into some sort of box.
And honestly, who would want to live in a world in which this isn't possible?
Well, I don't know. I had to look at our most regular viewers and listeners, and look what they're doing today, Steve. I'm a little. Anything but this show. So, traditionally, folks, yes.
I don't see why. I was pretty well behaved in our last episode.
Absolutely, you were. It was nice. It was nice. You know, they say this about us a lot too. I hate boys. They're terrible, awful, nasty things. Well, the boys are back in town, and we are here to steamroll your literary dreams. Normally, we would do a nonfiction and a fiction title and then some wild card, but you asked for it, folks. One of you daffy folks out there asked for this. So we're going to deliver all wild card all the time on this show. A day where I get to just repeatedly sling boys. So it's like the dunk tank in the parking lot. Except it's reverse dunk tank because you're going to be dunking the books.
Well, we'll see. This could be a time for all of you out there keeping points about what Steve hasn't read to rack up your scores. We'll see.
And on the other spreadsheet, how many times I get fired during this episode. So let's make sure that we're all on track.
By the way, I put an informal poll around for people about the background that they prefer. A wall of books or an incredibly cute little dog, and they chose the incredibly cute little dog. I am not telling her to look occasionally at the camera like
that. She's such a child star. I mean, she's been through it on this show, I tell you. She's gonna have a tell-all book next year that's gonna be dynamite. Oh, let's start with here we go. This is a book that I would like to say the title in the style of a newsreel, 1930s newsreel. Here we go. Presidents at War. How is it?
It's good.
It's good. Excellent. All right.
Oh, it's not excellent. It's very good. It's good.
It's good.
It's just good. Yeah. It's just good.
Right in the middle of the scale.
Right. Middle of the scale. It's not Bill O'Reilly. Way too many of you are perfectly happy with killing presidents at war. It's not Bill O'Reilly, but it's also
it's good.
Good. Yes. When you are about to open the book, your mind is going to be saying, well, the one word I can certainly use for war is complex. And when you open the book, you must kill that part of your mind. There's no complexity in this book at all. So
kind of black and white.
It's
just
like here's a president. Here's who he was when he was 8. Here's how he approaches war. Without war is not complex in this book. So
total lack of nuance is what I'm hearing.
Right. There is no nuance.
Okay.
Right. There is no nuance. And also, not to get too rabble-rousy right out of the gate, but how to put this? How to put this in a way that will go well.
You can do it.
In every single war in which the United States, has ever taken part, America has been the savage, blood-dripping aggressor. Every single one. No exceptions. And you're not going to find that in this book. So if you don't like that fact, then this is the perfect book for you.
Well, thank heavens when we watched it on television for our televiddles. So at least we can tune in and enjoy.
A piece of furniture with its own control nods and the TV table. Do you remember the TV table?
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely. Here in Wisconsin, that has never gone away. The TV table has been.
That used to be a staple.
Absolutely.
And I used to get so much crap from my family about TV tables.
Really?
Yeah, because there was a thing. I had Beagles, lots of them, and they were very unruly. They did what I wanted, but I didn't want them to do much. Just to be fun. So when I was eating off a TV table, usually a TV dinner, while watching the big console TV, sometimes some of my boys thought it was fun to hop up on the couch, then hop up on the back of the couch, and then just to add that extra nuance of fun, jump wand diving style onto my TV, utterly collapsing it and spilling food and liquids in all directions. Damn it, if I didn't think that was fun. They were doing the dog equivalent of laughing their heads off. So I did too. I mean, what difference does it make to me if I eat my stuff off the floor or off a TV? It doesn't to me at all. And the problem is that my boys started to think that everybody in the family would find that fun, and they didn't. At all.
So no one said, "Oh, it's Steve and his Beagles."
Well, they did say that, yes, but not quite the way they
different tone. Okay, I got you. I understand. Very good.
My boys some of them would love it. They would be up on the top of the couch and they'd be thinking, "Oh my God, it's that time again!" Yay!
You know, I thought this story was going to end with like an unruly keister or a tail that would maybe knock it over. No, you're talking swan dive. You're talking Evil Knievel.
They loved it. They loved it, and anything they loved, I loved. So
absolutely. Well, let's see if you love this. You know, we've kind of taken after this author with Knives Out a little bit last couple of shows. This is actually an Everyman's Library reprint of early books, End of the World and Hard-Boiled Wonderland. And I'm just wondering if we can be nicer to him today. Haruki Murakami.
When I see him in Everyman's Library, I'm reminded of a line from The Lion in Winter. If you're a prince, there's hope for every ape in Africa. But I guess Everyman's Library can go by popularity as well as anybody else can. No. Right? They can. This volume will sell well.
No. Hasn't been circling well.
I don't doubt it.
I thought somebody would. Well,
we have knocked Murakami around. We mainly did it for a work of his that was nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
It was still anile and vacuous and utterly tail chasing and had nothing at all to say. But at least it wasn't fiction doing all that.
Yeah. Can you, and one of my favorite terms you've ever used on this show, which now I use all the time when someone wants to talk to me about it, is Japanese zombie fiction. Can we actually chart the beginning of that with him? Because
you could easily do it.
Could one do that?
You could easily do it. Yeah. I think that what I consider to be, it sounds so terrible, but what I consider to be Japanese zombie fiction, I think has even deeper literary roots than that.
Oh.
There is actually a deep literary tradition in Japanese literature of little vignettes that are basically about nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I am sitting on my porch. I am looking at a candle flame in a lamp. And nothing happens to me. And nothing happens to the porch, and nothing happens to the candle flame. I'm just doing that. And that actually has a name in Japanese literature. And it has been raised to a high art form by some Japanese writers.
Sure.
But if you take that basic premise that here not much is going to happen. If you take that and you remove the literary genius, then you get Japanese zombie fiction where characters just show up, or they do things just because, because you, the author, feel like having them do things.
Do you feel that there's a future for Wisconsin zombie fiction when I say I was sitting on my porch eating Spam sticks? Just wondering if there's,
that's a raucous adventure right there.
Yeah, I don't want to read the sequel.
No. When it's a Wisconsinite sitting on the back porch with a Pabst Blue Ribbon and the fried dinner for the evening, the thrilling element is this when they're going to plant face down with a 4-alarm fire heart attack, or is it going to be tomorrow? That adds a thrill. It's like a Hunger Games, only the Hungry Games.
We got to get to work on this. I am smelling money. This is outstanding. Speaking of smelling money, I didn't even know this guy had a new book out. It might not be terribly new, but look, I'm Bill.
Yeah.
What more does he possibly have to say?
Nothing. He has nothing to say. Nothing. I'm not going to go on a Melania Trump rant. I'm not going to go on a Bill Belichick rant.
Oh, please,
Bill
please.
is technically a citizen.
No.
And I guarantee you he was hands-on with this book. At least hands-on in the sense that he had some knowledge that it was happening. He wanted to be involved, wanted to talk with his ghostwriters. Note how generously the ghostwriter is credited on the cover.
I'm scrambling to find who is this schmo.
So in that sense, it's not the same as a Bill Belichick novel, a Bill Belichick book, or a Melania Trump book.
Right.
That the guy on the cover was at least nominally involved with the production of the book. But that's as far as it goes. All the rest of it is Melania, because there's not one single word of truth in the book. Not one word. And I mean down to, I went to Phoenix for this speech. No, you didn't. No, you didn't go. No, you didn't go. There's not one actual word of truth in the book.
Chelsea's here. She told him for years that she wanted to go to Oxford.
Yeah.
After she finished at Stanford.
She never said that. Her name's not Chelsea and she's not his
mother. I can't find his ghostwriter anywhere. There's no listing anywhere.
We have come to accept here on Books of the Week the existence of these weird book-shaped objects that have been so thoroughly vetted by lawyers that you are not actually reading anything when you read.
Right.
What I want to know is a common question that I have with wildcard segments. Does anybody want this book?
It's really I can always tell how a book is circling by how clean the jacket is, and this thing is pristine, and it's been out there for a while. So there isn't a single nick on this thing. So well, it's here. Come on down. I love this title. I like the subtitle anyway. I'm not sure if I like the cover, and it's Ross Douthat. And it's Believe Why Everyone Should Be Religious.
I have a feeling that my producer has a canny plan in mind for some of his choices. I'm thinking these choices are not entirely random. It's for his fox-like canniness that we keep him around.
I'm the Brett Baer of CPL.
Quite literally, not for any other reason.
You don't like my shirt today.
Oh, please don't lift it up. We might see the quesadillas. God.
There's one here. There's one here. There's one here. Believe.
It's terrible.
Okay.
It's based on a whole breviary of lies.
It's short.
Douthat is saying here that religious faith gives you something that you don't get from secular alternatives or from no alternatives. And he is dead wrong. He is dead wrong about it. He's wrong about a lot. This is his worst book by far. It is, I confidently predict, one of the worst books of the year.
Oh,
it is an absolute dipstick of what is wrong with America today, because he's saying the full title of his book should be, if it's accurate to the contents, Believe What You Want.
Sure.
And that's why we are where we are.
because
everyone is believing what they want, regardless of what's real.
Right.
There are no goblins. If you say there are, of course, what he says, believe why everyone should be religious. He doesn't think anyone should be Hindu. Let's be clear about that. He doesn't think anyone should be fundamentalist Islam.
Probably not a big
at all. What
I'm not a huge fan of me either, I would think, ultimately. So,
he thinks that everyone should be Christian. Why when he says the importance of religious faith, let's be honest, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the things he discusses in this book, he's discussing two things. One is the things that religious faith will do for you to keep you internally accountable,
sure,
to keep you morally consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I want to introduce him to any one of the 20 mega church pastors who've been found diddling children in public bathrooms. It might be nice to introduce him to even one of those. Nevertheless, he says with a straight face that that it's good for those internal reasons, but that it's also good for external reasons. And it is, if it's good for external reasons, then you have to demonstrate it. If the external reasons are that the gods you're believing in are real and pay attention and have personal relationships,
right?
Introduce me to them. And if you can't do that, then shut up on the subject of whether or not they are real.
Yes,
we are long over it. If you're talking about something that happened a year ago, and the experience was bad for the goblins in question, so they're a little bit chary of meeting people.
Right.
We're talking about things that are thousands of years old. For thousands of years, you have been telling me that your goblins want a personal relationship with everyone around me. Show them to me.
Yeah.
Introduce me to them. No arguments, no faith positions, no white papers, no books like this. Show them to me. You're long since past any kind of, St. Elmsom's arguments for how well you.
Don't.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to rant, but you should not. You absolutely should. This book is a lie on almost every level. If children were not indoctrinated into their beliefs, none of them would be religious. Not that religion would drop off by 20%. Religion would vanish from the world if children were not indoctrinated. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about how important religious belief is in the world? It isn't important at all.
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I got a lot of money for my bar mitzvah, so I'm a pretty happy camper myself.
About how people should be Christian, and although the author doesn't quite have the courage of his convictions to come out and say baldly that you should be Christian because Christianity is true,
but in 5 years he could.
It just
drives
me crazy when Christians say that the word of Christ is written in your heart. That part of what Douthat says in this book is that one of the reasons that you should be religious is because you are already. The word of the risen Christ is written in your heart. The doctrines that you are learning from your childhood indoctrination.
Right.
Oh, don't tell me about childhood indoctrination. These things have been true since the foundation of the earth. The works of God speak in the truth of creation. Okay, then. Show me a civilization that's developed Christianity spontaneously.
I like how you said I like how you said that the words of indoctrination are written in our heart, like we're walking fortune cookies. You crack us open, you'll find this little piece of paper in there. It's very interesting. I'm not sure how that works.
It's a noxious book. Noxious. If we're doing raspberries when it comes to wild cards, it gets all of them. Not least of which, the last thing I'll say about
no, that's great.
In addition to all the lies that are in it about why you should be religious, you shouldn't believe anything that you can't prove. About how it will improve you as a person. Ultra religious people are the worst people in the world. So whether it's Christianity or Islam or anything else, they're the worst people in the world. In addition to all of those lies, there's also the fundamental underlying lie. The author's an atheist. He is
the film reviewer.
But I guarantee you, in the course of his day, he never thinks about a God or God. Never in a minute in the course of his day. And religious people do.
Right. That's true. That is true. He's in the same racket as you are. I read in the back that he's the film reviewer for the National Review. I didn't know they talked about movies in the National Review.
He wrote this book thinking that religious revanchist fundamentalist was on an upswing.
Nah.
I imagine he's thinking a little different about the reception of his book since the Western world's primary revanchist Christian just got his shiny behind spanked by a bunch of undergraduates in live time. Like, imagine it doesn't look quite so on the upswing anymore.
Ebbs and flows, right? Well, let's get the hell out of church as quickly as possible. Steve was wearing his pants today.
You picked that book on purpose to get me going.
I would never. Moving on. So the Graham Norton today of the show.
You can't profess it unless you can demonstrate it, and you can't demonstrate it. All the arguments in the world, the Kalam cosmological argument. Oh, don't you understand, though, there is incipient causes and a watch on the beach. No, introduce me to the goblins you say are real. If you can't do that, then they're not, and you're a lunatic.
Steve, Frida's watching you right now. I thought you should know. That's the only goblin we believe in on this show. Hey, let's turn our attentions, our compasses over to I love annotated classics. I have a weird penchant for buying them these days. We're building up a classics section, and I want to fill it with as many annotated, because it's like the DVD extras on a DVD.
Do your patrons like them?
They seem to. They're starting to gravitate them a little bit, and this just came out recently, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, the
absolutely gorgeous.
It is. I mean, we are awash in annotated editions. There are 3 publishers that come out with several a year.
Sure.
And it's understandable because our education system is in tatters, so you don't get taught. You don't get taught the history or the context of these things. You're lucky if you get taught them at all.
Absolutely.
So it's understandable why annotated editions would be so popular. This one is not only lovely, but it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can't say that about all of them. It's wonderfully take the reader in hand.
Yeah. I mean,
really, some annotated editions want to teach you. They don't want to take you in hand. They want to teach you. And this one doesn't do that. This one is much more along the lines of, oh, did you know? Or, oh, here's a fact that might actually enhance your reading.
Sure.
The Great Gatsby is not like the annotated Julius Caesar. You don't need annotations to read and appreciate the book at all.
Sure.
And the annotators here know that, whereas a lot of them don't. A lot of them think they're God's gift to classroom. So as an annotated editions go, this is well worth it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just fun. I mean,
of course, I'm not consulted in what the library buys. But I'm glad they have it.
Well, since I have believe, clearly you're not consulted.
I'm also not consulted on who they continue to employ.
Oh, well, I mean,
the wall signage that he uses.
In our library of things, you can get this robot and he can make love.
I remember I used to work in a retail bookstore in a great rundown old building where we had flaking asbestos and exposed electrical wiring and soiled carpets and whatnot. And then that store closed. And all the staff was moved to a new version, a new Barnes & Noble on the other side of town in a glass and steel building in this beautiful state-of-the-art mall with, $1,000 a day apartment buildings all around it. And we adapted as well as we could, but I was phasing out of my bookstore career at that point. And I was leaving the store. I left employment and went to full-time writing. But I still went back to that bookstore every once in a while, browse around, see what was new and whatnot, maybe get a magazine or something like that. And I was walking out of that store one day just idly thinking, I wonder when I will get a sign that it's just time for me to stop coming here and just let the whole thing go. I wonder when I'll get a sign that will be the case. And I walked out into the main aisle of the mall, and there was a waist-high, egg-shaped robot freely wandering around the hallway. You stop in front of it, then it stops and asks you what you want, and it can give you directions, and you can punch in visual displays and whatnot.
Oh, my.
And I thought, okay, you have your spot back in this building again.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's a pretty telling...
the machine will talk to you. It responds to you when it thinks you're paying attention to it. It has AI. It moves independently of any. It's not being controlled by anyone. It moves independently. It knows to avoid walls. It knows to avoid people, and it has an information mode and a direction mode. And I was on Twitter at the time, and I posted a picture of this thing, and I simply said, this thing has a directions mode and an information mode, and if you don't think it has a subdue mode, you're the most naive creatures ever existed in the world. You ought to be back in the nursery. And you wouldn't believe how many comments I got from people who say, "What do you mean subdue? What do you mean? What are you talking about?"
Well, you described me to a T when you were rattling off those descriptions, information mode, and and I absolutely have a subdue mode. So
I'm not talking about all you can eat buffets.
Oh.
Jeff will kill. Jeff will kill.
The fricassee looks really good today, Margie. So what do we have on tap?
Someday
here?
you and I must film for the horror of YouTube. Someday you and I must film. We could get someone else to film us going to an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
I can and you can, but they can't at all.
Good way to get our channel flagged, Steve.
YouTube used to have these things called mukbangs, where the YouTuber would eat an extravagant amount of food. And I'm sure that, like you, I used to watch those things and say, "Oh, aren't you cute? You think that's a large amount of food? Aren't you cute?"
Well, we would answer the question, can you fit your head under the soft serve machine? Because it actually can be done. Hark. Oh, now we did it.
Cops to get me.
Donahue and Messerman are going to a buffet together. Call 911. Let's wrap up, possibly with a bright spot. I've always enjoyed this man's work.
Annotated Gatsby was a bright spot. I'm glad you got that for the library. It's a really good way to annotate a book.
I need more. I mean, they're increasing in popularity enough that I want to have the ultimate Wisconsin annotated library.
Those are the two kinds of annotated editions that you can get. You can get the kind where you need the annotations, and the kind where you don't, but they're kind of nice.
Sure.
And of the kind where you don't need the annotations, there are two kinds.
Yeah.
One where the annotator thinks you do, and one where they know you don't. This is just a perfect example.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jekyll and Hyde one, which I think you reviewed, that's great too. That was great fun. Felt like a nice companion bit. I can't believe this man is still writing. He's up there in years, and it's James Lee Burke with "Don't Forget Me, Little Bessie." How is this? He's
wonderful.
Great.
He is still writing, and you'd never know how old he is. It's wonderful, just wonderful. Talk about what we weren't talking about. I'm not going to admonish our patrons at all. There are plenty of crime/police/mystery novels and series out there that aren't any good at all, and you people will line up to get them. This is one that's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Holland Family is the focus of this one, and obviously Dave Robichaux is his big character, and I figure people who are into William Kent Kruger and C.J. Box, I would think he would be an obvious,
a little bit more of an urban version of those two.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have I do have 1 minute before I have to go run the projector, and I have to throw this one at you because this is another one of those books where I think I say, what the hell is this? What the hell is this?
Yes, this is Josh Brolin's new book, in heavy air quotes over Josh, and heavy air quotes over Brolin, and heavy air quotes over book. It is new. It is an object that's new. Yeah.
Holding it right here.
Josh Brolin is a movie star.
He is.
Which means he has the IQ of a newborn billy goat. The kind that you see on YouTube videos, headbutting walls and patient Labrador retrievers. That's the IQ that Josh Brolin has. And that's the IQ he'll die with. They don't get any smarter as they get older.
Is it fair to say that if I crack this open, because I think I know what he's trying to do here, because even the packaging is the same. If I open up and go, all right. He's trying to do that, isn't he? I think he's trying to do this weird Southern charm thing like McConaughey. It
doesn't work at all.
No.
I don't know why he probably knows that this book exists, but I don't know why these things happen. I really don't. I mean, Josh Brolin is beloved.
Yeah.
He is Thanos. If he's nothing else, he's Thanos for the rest of time.
Right.
You'd think that would be enough for these people. You'd think that if you were a former president of the United States or a beloved actor, that you wouldn't need to do anything else. Who told Josh Brolin that he should be good at writing?
Yeah, if being Thanos is not enough for you, that's a serious problem.
The thing that bothers me about these kinds of things is the underlying assumption that they all have, and that too many people have who aren't movie stars, which is, I'm doing my life. But if I weren't doing that, I'd write a book. Like, writing a book is something that doesn't require the effort and work and time that is required for the thing you're doing in your life. But it's this default thing that you can do. It isn't. It requires a huge amount of work.
What a strange thing to denigrate, the act of writing a book. Oh, well, it's just that. It's Herculean.
I guarantee you that at some point in his career, Josh Brolin has had an on-set scriptwriter fired for making eye contact with him. Yes. This business of how I venerate the written word that he's going to say to Jimmy Kimmel or whatever, forget about it.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Steve, talk about venerating the written word. There is a group here in Cedarburg, and they are known as the Friends of the Cedarburg Public Library. Yes, that group. What do you mean? Oh, that group? The only group that has any bearing.
Venerate fish fries, sure, but the written word.
Of course. And the patreon.com/books of the week is our Patreon, where you can drop a little coin and support this show, support the Friends, support literacy, support this library.
Who are the Friends?
Well,
this mention that you made of the Friends, who are they? The Friends of the Cedarburg Public Library. That all-important group.
And we love them. And what do you know? I mean,
one of whom also insists that you not make eye contact when you're passing them in the hallway.
You'll get this. Don't make me do this. I don't think Josh is a friend of any library. No. I'm curious to know if there's some listener to Books of the Week out there who is keeping a running tally of all the descriptions of the Cedarburg, of the Friends of the Library, and maybe coming up with one composite person who fits all of those criteria. You ChatGPT folks out there, you have your assignment. Gather together all of that and give us.
What is the composite description of the Friends of the Cedarburg Public Library by now?
Jay Messerman at cedarburglibrary.org. Email me your results from ChatGPT. I want to see what this person looks like, and I want this on T-shirts, bumper stickers, coffee mugs, the works. So that is Books of the Week. That is a wild card episode. You know that if we had a Books of the Week T-shirt, it would be the outline of your head with your headphones, and under it would be "You're fired." That's what it would be. And I'm just as enough of a masochist that I'd love it. I would give you a Maxwell Smart and loving it. Right, everybody. Steve, thank you so much. It's always fun. A wild card show is chaotic, and we have both survived, and the odds makers were wrong. Well, it was our faith that got us through. I believe. Next week, everybody, Books of the Week. Oh, no, I'm Jewish. I got to do this with the triangle. I don't even know how to do it. Take care, all. Bye-bye.